to release all of those documents. He is the most transparent president in the nation's history. And none of them ask Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
Mr. Jordan, Mr. Jordan.
Committee will be in order.
Mr. Jordan, am I going to get an extra 45 seconds added to my time?
The committee will be in order. The time belongs to the gentleman from Texas. Ms. Bondi, the Attorney General can respond.
Thank you. The Dow has shattered 50,000 for the first time. This is crazy. They said it couldn't be done in 4 years, yet President Trump has done it in 1 year.
All of that was Pam Bondi's answer to the simple question, how many men has the DOJ indicted due to the Epstein files? Of course, the answer to that is 0, and Pam Bondi could have just said that, but instead she chose to deflect. She chose to talk about the Dow and President Trump's economic successes. And look, if this were a campaign event, if she were on the campaign trail working for the midterms, then I would totally get that response if it was asked by someone from the press. But this was specifically a hearing about the Epstein files, so I get why people are so mad at how she conducted herself and chose to answer the questions, because that level of deflection, unfortunately, it wasn't just that moment. The entire hearing was like that. This is the Attorney General of the United States. She's not President Trump's economic advisor. Heck, she's not even an economist, and yet she wants to comment on his economic agenda and what he's done so far. She is there under oath to answer questions about the Epstein files and how the DOJ has handled the entire situation. And look, even if you believe, like I do, that the Epstein files have been unfairly politicized by the Democrats to target President Trump, that doesn't negate the fact that justice still needs to be done for the victims. The perpetrators and the abusers need to be held accountable, and we do know that there are many names. And so it raises the question, why is no one being indicted? Why is Ghislaine Maxwell in prison for human trafficking if no one was trafficked to anyone? Like, both of these things can't be true. And so that's what she's there for, to answer these discrepancies, to give context. And instead, she wants to deflect. I'm not saying that that is indicative of any wrongdoing, but it definitely is not a good look. I think most people would want more decorum from a lawyer, let alone the Attorney General of the United States. So here is the moment that led up to that big explosion.
How many of Epstein's co-conspirators have you indicted? How many perpetrators are you even investigating?
First, you showed it. I find it.
How many have you indicted?
Excuse me. I'm going to answer the question.
Answer my question.
No, I'm going to answer the question the way I want to answer the question.
No,
Your
you're going to answer the
theatrics are
question the
ridiculous.
way I asked it.
Chairman Jordan, I'm not going to get in the gutter with these people, but I'm going to answer the question.
How many have you indicted?
Again, the time belongs to
Reclaiming my time.
The time belongs.
I think it's very interesting.
Reclaiming my time.
I think it's very interesting.
You can
When
reclaim
he
your
talks
time.
about they
Reclaiming my time,
indicted,
Mr.
the
Chairman.
president said they
Close the
indicted
clock.
him twice.
Mr. Chairman, please
They
stop the
sure
clock
did.
and
And
stop
he
the clock and
indicted.
restore his time.
Okay, here we go with these
Committee will be in order.
theatrics.
The time
Reclaiming my
belongs
time
to the
and
gentleman
yield
from
back
New
the clock,
York.
please.
We will give you a few more seconds. We will do that. But when
Reclaiming
you ask
my-
the question, the witness
question
gets to
was-
answer. You may not like the answer, but she
Right.
gets to
The
answer.
question was, how many of Epstein's...
They don't like
Que-
the answer,
Reclaiming
Chairman,
my time.
because it's honest.
Reclaiming
So
my-
he asked a
Reclaiming my
4-minute
time.
question.
Restore 45
and
seconds to
I am
Mr. Nadler,
going
please,
to
Mr. Chairman.
Answer.
You can let her filibuster all day long, but not on our watch.
Reclaiming-
Not on our time. No way.
Reclaiming-
And I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, oh, I
anything,
did tell you because we
washed
saw
up
what you did in the
loser
Senate.
Lawyer, not even a lawyer.
Committee will be in order.
Time and I should get back.
Again, just talk about a total lack of decorum, and I get that the hardcore base is going to love that, but it's not a good look to independents. Certainly, is going to take off a lot of Democrats, but I think most people would want an attorney general to be more judicious, to be just more professional, more level-headed. Here it seems like she's playing politics instead of answering these questions. And there are so many ways, as I'm going to show you in this video, that she could have actually answered questions substantially, put a lot of conspiracy theories to rest. But I think she's given more oxygen to these conspiracy theories. Because who's going to watch this? And it's already going viral, and think that she's done a good job here. Remember the initial question, how many men has the DOJ indicted? Well, she insulted someone saying, you're a washed up, you're not even a lawyer. And then she starts talking about the Dow and how the stock market's doing. I mean, is this her personal let them eat cake moment? And it, like I said, it wasn't just around this moment. The entire hearing was like this. Take a look. This is actually behind the scenes footage because the microphones are obviously decided to pick up what's right in front of them. So you don't get a lot of the room tone, and it was a lot more chaotic behind the scenes than what it appears on camera. And to me, that's saying a lot.
She posted nothing on her X account, on her Twitter account during the Biden
And by the way, it wasn't just during when Democrats were asking questions. Republican Thomas Massie asked a few questions, and she got really heated towards him, and she threw a few insults his way. So for a lot of the hardcore Trump supporters who are against Massie, you know, this is going to be something that they really love. But for people who are maybe more libertarian, more independent, this is going to look bad on Pam Bondi. So let me know what you think of this clip down in the comments below.
Who's responsible? Are you able to track who in your organization made this massive failure and released the victims' names? Are you able to track who it was that obscured Les Wexner's name as a co-conspirator in an FBI document? Do you have that kind of accountability?
I believe Wexner's name was listed more than 4,000 times.
Yeah, I already told you that. This is where he's listed as a co-conspirator.
Can I finish my answer? Come on, let me finish my answer. We corrected that within 40 minutes. He was already, you're acting like everybody's trying to cover up Wexner's name.
Reclaiming my time.
I'm going to answer this question.
Reclaiming my time. Mr. Chairman.
This is how this works.
Can I have my time back? Mr. Chairman.
The gentlelady can give her answer. The time belongs to the gentleman from
All right, I'm reclaiming my time.
Can I give my answer?
So I'm going to put the language of the bill up on the screen.
Chairman, may I give my answer on that?
Here's
a political
the question.
joke, and I need to give my answer on that.
We'll let the Attorney General respond, and then the gentleman can move to his next question.
It's my time.
Within 40 minutes, you asked me a question. Within 40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
There was one redaction out of
he's
over
listed as a co-conspirator.
4,700, and we invited you in. This guy has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs to. You're a failed politician. You need to get on these matters.
Chairman, please.
It's funny she accuses him of having TDS when he didn't even mention President Trump once there. And in fact, what Massie is concerned about are the co-conspirators, which is Wexner. By the way, President Trump's name is not listed as one of those co-conspirators. So to give a little context here, what Thomas Massie was talking about was two things. This law that Congress passed and President Trump signed into law, well, they had really two main provisions when it came down to redactions. Number one, they couldn't redact anyone who was guilty, even if it would hurt them politically or just public image. And number two, they had to protect the names of the victims. So he was asking, hey, you've actually released the victims' names. They were supposed to be redacted. Some of them, their address is out there. And so this personally identifiable information, and she's, as you can tell just even from that clip, oh, it was an accident, we fixed it. No, I'm sorry, that's not how it works. If you put it out there, all it takes is one screenshot and it lives forever. And so that's what this accountability is all about, is making sure, look, it doesn't necessarily mean that someone has to be punished or someone's going to go to jail or anything like that, but these processes exist to make sure that this sort of oversight doesn't happen again. And look, it is true that Wexner's name was in the files many times, but the point Massie was making here was that there was one document where it talks about Epstein's co-conspirators, and that's the important one, and that's where Wexner's name was redacted. So I do think he brought up a good point, though, Bondi's counter, I can see why people would buy that as well. But at the end of the day, the point is that these are serious questions, serious concerns. It doesn't need to be made political. Even, again, if you believe that the Democrats are unfairly using this as a weapon to go after President Trump, you can still speak to justice. You can still speak to what the DOJ is doing, why you did things certain ways, why you're not prosecuting anyone. And it got even worse when she appeared to laugh, or at least take lightly the fact that the victims' names and their private information were improperly redacted, or in some cases weren't redacted. And this is after they'd been told, hey, if you're comfortable, stand up. And Pam Bondi, do you want to say anything to them? This is what happened after that.
In the Epstein files.
May I respond to that?
Sure.
Okay. So if any man's name was redacted that should not have been, we will, of course, unredact it. If a victim's name was unredacted, please bring it to us and we will redact it. We were given 30 days to review and redact and unredact millions of pages of documents. Our error rate is very low, but there are
victims are
always
right behind you. We've got to convince them.
I'm sorry, the error rate is very low is not an excuse. Would you accept that from your surgeon or your doctor? Would you accept that from your pilot? I don't think we would accept that in most areas of life, let alone the Attorney General of the United States, yet here we are. Now, as crazy as all of that was, perhaps the most consequential moment, at least for Pam Bondi, was when Ted Lieu accused her of perjuring herself, accused her of lying under oath. But before we get to that, I would like to thank the members of today's Governor's Club. They are Ding Xiaoping, Moon Fairy 11, The Herrings, and Bob Paul. These are people who give tips and super thanks to the channel. I am glad that you enjoy, and I'm glad that you're here. So Ted Lieu asked a question about President Trump's name being in the files, and there are so many ways that Pam Bondi could have handled this, but because she chose to politicize this, because she chose to go on the defensive, I think she accidentally talked herself into a corner. Let's play the clip and we'll dissect it on the other side.
Like former Prince Andrew, Donald Trump attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files
I'm reclaiming my time. I got your answer. You said there's no evidence.
President Trump asked
Mr. Chairman, please stop the clock.
Stop the clock. The legislation. This is ridiculous.
Time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay. I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center, because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you, here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was gonna stop the limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide.
Now, the easy answer, the easy rebuttal to that would be, of course, President Trump's names are in the file. And yes, there is evidence, but evidence does not necessarily mean it is credible evidence. In the files themselves, and keep in mind, I am not part of the DOJ, although I do have sources deep in the DOJ who, give me good information, but many, if you take a look at the files, and even the ones that they've unredacted and put online, they will have these accusations, and the FBI notes, the FBI documents themselves will say, witness not credible, or no corroborating evidence, or the other evidence we found overwhelmingly disputes this account. So it is true that there is evidence there, but evidence does not necessarily mean guilt. It does not mean that it's credible. It does not mean that it's verifiable. And so whether or not that instance of potentially lying under oath, potentially perjuring herself, comes back to haunt Pam Bondi. I don't know, time will tell, but that was a situation that didn't have to happen had she just been more forthcoming and I think more judicious in how she answered these questions. As always, though, all of this is just my analysis and commentary. That's what's happening in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So look, I know most of you support President Trump. Obviously, I voted for President Trump all 3 times. I did not hide it, and I certainly don't regret it. Now, with that being said, how do you think Pam Bondi handled herself? I'm assuming most of you approve of the Trump administration. Do you support this showing by Pam Bondi, or are you a little bit where I am, where you're saying, hey, that just wasn't professional, I think this is unbecoming, and quite frankly, I want more from the Attorney General of the United States? Let me know where you fall on that spectrum down in the comments below. If you haven't already, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.